the Minnesota Wild podcast, presented by Acrisure.
Here in St. Paul, after one period of play, Minnesota leads the Detroit Red Wings by a score of 2-0. Shots on net 9-7 in favor of the Red Wings. And Minnesota with 2 goals. Rossi, his 21st, being a power play goal. Laukow getting his 3rd of the season as well. So that's where we stand right now after 20 minutes of play. My guest right now is Paul Woods, longtime player in the NHL, but also longer as a broadcaster. And Paul, welcome to the show. And as they had Kenny Cal, your play-by-play guy, on the other day, so I have to have the color guy on as well. So give us your impression of the first period.
It's always a pleasure to see you, Tom. And again, I think back, I was telling Ken about our playing days and stuff, and back over in Minnesota, and you guys had you back on the blue line, Dennis O'Brien, and went through the different guys, and how difficult it was to play against you guys, and you're a rugged defenseman and made life miserable for the opposing team's forwards, but it's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch the game, and you've been, well, you must be approaching, pretty close to 3,500 games by now, aren't you? You're very close to it.
Yeah, I think I'm around there somewhere, I don't keep track of it anymore, just, keep going as long as you possibly can. It's such a great opportunity and a great job. He's somehow still involved in the game of hockey, so I'm always proud of that.
Yeah, and I always talk about the fact that there's not too many color analysts in the game. Man, we had 32 teams, so yeah, maybe 32 to 40, depending if you're in the Canadian market, where they have a few more with the French speaking and so on. But it's been fun to do. And you look at a game like this, and I'm looking at your record, and you made a coaching change around the Christmas time, and Todd McClellan, who was used to work for the Wild at one time in their minor league system, has certainly come in and helped your hockey club.
Yeah, he's a real good coach, Tom. And again, the thing about him is just, I like about him, he's a puck possession guy, and he wants to hang on the puck, and he wants all 5 guys playing together as a group offensively, defensively, and to me that's the secret to it, and you get that teamwork going, that camaraderie, and all of a sudden the determination, the will, and guys start to sacrifice the body and making plays they probably shouldn't, or no one thought they could make, or blocking shots, and it's just fun to be around, so we're a much more likable team now than we were to start the season.
Yeah, you certainly have been. I mean, you're in the playoffs, I think, 25 straight years. Last 10 years, not so good, being not making the playoffs. But you guys are in a position right now that you're very close to it, and you don't have a lot of games left. You played 57, as Minnesota has, but you want to keep it going, looking forward. Never look behind. Look ahead of you.
Well, it's not a good indication, that opening period. We've been really pretty good and consistently good this last month and stuff, and I expect us to bounce back in the second and third period, but I got to say, I've seen Minnesota now twice in their last 3 games, and they're a resilient bunch, and I thought John Hines, today if they beat us, it would have to be with 3 lines. I just didn't think they were deep enough front. I thought they're great back of the blue line, they're great in goal, but I thought their forwards would definitely be our advantage, but it wasn't that way in the opening period. The way they moved that puck around the offensive zone, getting everybody involved, and it doesn't matter if it's the first line guy, the fourth line guy, that's a well-coached hockey team.
Yeah, when you look at these two teams, I look at John Hines coming in here last year mid-season. I look at your coach coming in mid-season, with coming in mid-season, and it's when there's new sheriffs in town, all of a sudden everybody elevates their game a little bit.
Yeah, and I think too, Tommy, from your days and stuff, and this hasn't changed with the game. We've got to be held accountable, and I mean a good play is a good play, and a bad play is a bad play. And again, if the guy's not going to tell you can't do that no more, and it's not going to work, and there's going to be repercussions if you do, it's not going to change. But again, I think in his own way, he's not a screamer, he's not a yeller. I'm talking about Tom McClellan, but he makes sure he gets that point across to the players that that's not a good play, and you can't do that.
Well, he's got the experience also. I mean, he's been a head coach in numerous years in the National Hockey League. He's been assistant coach with you guys when you won the Cup. I think it was 2008.
Mike Babcock was head coach. That's right.
Yeah, Mike was there then, and a coach can make a huge difference with the hockey club. There's no question. You can have all the talent you want in the world, but if it doesn't work together, and you don't have a coach who can put the pieces together the way they should be, then it's going to be a problem.
And Tom, too, again, like you can have all the strategies you want in earth in the world. But again, if the compete level's not up high and the sacrifice level's not up high, you're not going to win games. I mean, you got to be doing those little things that don't matter. It won't show up in the score sheet, but you do them anyways, and you do them over and over and over again. But it starts to build like an internal strength, and all of a sudden the guys love that feeling and become a much closer team, and that's what we've got right now. And again, that first period wasn't a good indication, and I think you'll see us bounce back and play much better in the second and third.
I look at the practice. You and I go back in the 70s and played in the 70s, and we look at practice sessions, and they weren't that aggressive as they are nowadays. I was at the practice yesterday in Minnesota. I tell you, they worked as hard in the practice as they do in the games. And the coaches always say, whatever you do in practice, you're going to carry through that in the game. And I think all the coaches and all the players have kind of blended into that as well.
It's an important part of it, and again, just working on those skills day to day, and to me it's a mental thing as well. It's like part of your routine. And you go through that practice, you go home, you eat well, you get rest, wake up, you get ready to go, come morning skate, and then play that game. But to me, there was no greater feeling coming to the arena before an NHL game and just the excitement that you felt inside yourself and what was going to happen in the next 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, and you look at your arena also. I mean, what a beautiful structure. In fact, I think it's the best in the National Hockey League. It certainly is good for the broadcasters, which doesn't always take into consideration when they build these buildings. But at the same time, and it looks like your fans are coming back too. It's tough when you don't make the playoffs for 10 years. You lose a little bit of that, but winning brings back the people.
Tom, our city, again, we had nobody was making the playoffs for a long time, and all of a sudden the Tigers got in last summer, and what an amazing story that was. And think about it, it was almost impossible that the entire team had less salary than one player on the Houston Astros. He made more than the entire Tiger organization, yet they made the playoffs. They were great. The Lions were great in football. And all of a sudden now the Red Wings are getting good. The Pistons are getting good. So our pro teams are coming around. But I also want to say that Bill Guerin, I just want to say something. What an amazing job I think that guy has done with the payroll, the dead payroll that he can't use,
right.
The $14 million, to put this kind of a team together, have those great young players out there. And that Matt Boldy, I'll tell you, he's something up front. Faber back on the blue line. Middleton. Rossi has scored the goal in the opening period. They got some great talent, but that is a well-organized team, and he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done.
Yeah, there's a price you pay when you do those type of things also by getting rid of a couple of top-end players. At the same time, you look what he put together also for the Four Nations face-off and what he's done. And, of course, you can pick either side, whether it be Canada or U.S. Somebody's going to win it. You hate to see anybody lose, to be honest with you, because the games are so tight and so tough.
That was some of the highest level hockey I've seen in a long time, and just the commitment by the players. And you see how many guys come out of there banged up and injured what they went through. But that's why our game, Tom, in my opinion, is the toughest one to play, because it's the only game that allows that now. You've got to have the balance to understand the skill level to play, make plays, and then that kind of a situation, that drop up the face-off, that can happen. I mean, it used to happen a lot back in our days. Now it doesn't happen anymore, but it's all inside the game, and that's what, in my mind, makes it the best game on earth.
Paul, thanks for being with us.
It's always a pleasure.
Paul Woods, our guest here. Kevin, let's go back to you. You have a guest standing by.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, after one period of play, Wild with a 2-0 lead over the Detroit Red Wings down at the Wild locker room with Wild forward Marco Rossi. You guys have been pretty prolific at rebounding and rallying from deficits. Kind of nice playing with the lead, though, for a change, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good. We have a lot of home games now coming up, and it's one of many right now, but I think we did a really good job so far.
3-game goal streak. The puck seems to be bouncing your way. Got it done in overtime in the first game with Detroit. How about this one? What did you see in the goal mouth scramble?
Yeah, it was a power play, and we know we have to bring the pucks to the net, like on 5-on-5, and just be hungry around the net. And there was a loose puck, and I was ready for that.
I felt like Matt Boldy was playing well before the Four Nations tournament. I feel like he's got an extra jolt in his step too now, coming back from that, representing Team USA. What are you seeing on the ice?
Yeah, for sure. He does an amazing job, even before Four Nations. But I think after the Four Nations, you can see he has more confidence out there, and, that helps our team for sure.
It does help. You guys are up 2-0 after one period of play. I saw this stat. Third Austrian in the history of the NHL to score 50 points in a season. Michael Grabner. Marco Rossi, who's the first guy?
Vanek.
Thomas Vanek. He's done it 9 times. You're in elite company there, Marco. Keep it going here in that second period. Take it down.
Thank you so much.
There you go. Wild forward Marco Rossi joining us in the intermission. For doing so, we owe him a gift certificate down to Tom Reed's Hockey City Pub. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Wild Hockey, presented by XL Energy. More after a quick break. This is Wild Hockey, presented by XL Energy.
For an extraordinary advantage in sports, you need a game plan. For an extraordinary advantage everywhere else, all you need is Acrisure. With a high-tech human approach to insurance, cybersecurity, and more, Acrisure helps you take care of what you care about. That makes winning easy. See what Acrisure's extraordinary advantage can do for you at Acrisure.com.